Hello, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Um,
So,
yeah.
were you gonna send the link for the YouTube live stream?
Let me send it here quick. Okay, so anyone in the Discord call to interact, please can you guys just use the live stream, the YouTube link. I'm gonna open this fully. The YouTube link just so that I can easily, make things work. It's really a challenge to have 3 different chats open. So we're just waiting for. Okay, we've got some. Yeah, let's just check this one is sorted. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so the papers we're going to be working on. Let me quickly. So I have posted them on for you. We're going to be working on this one paper today. This paper 1, it is from 2021. I'm just getting the link quickly. Forgot that I might need to send it in Discord. So it's from 2021. It's a fun paper, but many people did struggle with this specific paper. So I thought it was a great one to actually use. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, let's go. Pardon?
Some of us, can you try and send it on the WhatsApp group? Because
Absolutely.
the link with the live stream.
The link with the live stream.
Yeah, on the WhatsApp group.
Sure. Getting started with a live stream is always a bit of a mission. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to, I'm going to open this paper quickly. I had it open in a tab on this side. Is it this one? Yes. Okay. I'm excited. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about a minute to just get yourselves sorted, get everything open, just so that you know where everything is. I'm not going to be looking at any comments in the Discord channel, so I'm going to be closing. Putting something over the Discord channel so that I'm not looking at those comments because I only have limited space on my screen to manage this whole process. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, here is our paper. So, what we have is paper 1. Obviously, I'm just going to do a quick walks. I'm just going to tell you quickly everything that is in paper 1, and then we're going to do work through it live. You're going to work through it, I'm going to work through it, and then we will see we will look at our responses, why we're making those responses, what points we get for what type of responses, what are good things to do, what are bad things to do, stuff like that. Okay, so our section A, we've got 2 sections. So section A has question 1 and it's question 1A and B. So question 1A is 10 marks and question 1B is 15 marks. Now previously, or actually those who are writing now probably haven't interacted much with the stuff from pre-2020 because I mean it's been 3 years, so I'm not really going to cover that then. So the first section, question 1A, is going to be some kind of writing piece that you do, but it is going to be based on, and this is how it will be in every exam, it's going to be based on a piece. So you're going to be given a piece, and it might be whatever text type. You would, those who are in my class would know that I'm very big on understanding text conventions, and so every different type of text has different conventions and different ways that it works, different ways that the text functions. So because we've got different ways that the text functions, anyway, okay, I'm having a bit of a brain bubble there. Okay, so because every text functions in its own way, we need to understand exactly in which ways each text is fitting in with the norms of that type of text, and which ways a text is not fitting in, and why has the writer decided to make these decisions for it to not fit in. Okay, so we're given this text. It says it's a magazine article about Epic, and then we've got to write a podcast. So we need to understand the conventions of a magazine article, and we need to understand a podcast, especially for this question B, where we compare the podcast with the article and we look at form, structure, and language. Now, this is the first thing the first opportunity we have to actually analyze something. So this is fun, but question 2 gets a little bit more hectic, because instead of just analyzing, doing a comparative analysis where we are analyzing the one and analyzing the other one, and we're getting 15 marks, we don't have to go that in depth. We still need to have a sophisticated understanding and an in-depth understanding, but we don't have to it's not as intense in what it requires of us as this question 2, which is to take this text, and we're just told to analyze the text focusing on form, structure, and language. Okay, our goals for today, my goal for today is to get through question 1. I'm going to go through question 1A, see how we're doing, and then we'll see if we can make it to question 1B. Otherwise, we might just do question 1A and do question 1B in our next stream. What I expect from you is I expect that you work along with me. So open Google Doc, however you want to do this. Open a Google Doc and work through it. Now, I have given you a link to the paper which allows you to view the paper, but I do recommend that you save the paper for yourself, and I'm going to create for myself an annotated version here. Okay, so I'm going to use this annotated version. I'm going to write on this page probably with comments. I do have a way to write on the screen, but I don't always like it because it just irritates me. But I'm going to write with, I'm just checking what's going on here on this live. Give me a sec. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to be writing my answers, you're going to be writing your answers. I'm going to be looking at why we do certain things, and we're going to be exploring it like that. Okay. So our first question is, so let's read our instructions. So read the following text, which is an extract from a magazine article about Epic. So the first thing we're given, which is very important, is that this is a magazine article. Okay, so what we're going to consider here, if I can find a way to comment. Okay, actually, there's no way to comment here, I think. Let's see. Okay. So, because it's a magazine article, I'm going to be, I just want to change my color. Because it's a magazine article, I'm going to be looking out conventions. Okay. I'm also going to look out for audience. Okay. Now, something that's helpful and in most cases this is done, well, actually, I think in all cases this is done. It gives you all the information you need. So, Epic is a new software package for healthcare professionals. Okay? So, it is a new software package for healthcare professionals. Okay. So, the first thing you need to know is that healthcare professionals does not just include doctors. Healthcare professionals includes nurses, pharmacists, doctors. I suppose even homeopaths. I don't know if they are always doctors. I don't know. And then we've got who else might we have? We might have dietitians. They are healthcare professionals. So they aren't necessarily conventional healthcare professionals, but they are healthcare professionals. So we're just thinking about these things. We're having an awareness of about these things. And so we need to have an awareness of the fact that the text is written in for a purpose. So, in order to get pretty much any marks in your exam, you need to, okay, not any marks, you can get some marks without knowing this, but you need to have an awareness of what your purpose is. So every text that we read is in some way, is written for a specific audience, and it is written for a specific purpose. Now, I have heard people say, I have had people write that the audience of a magazine article is anyone who likes to read magazines. And that's not necessarily true. Just because you like to read a magazine doesn't mean that you want to read that specific article. And also, not every magazine is made for every audience. So we need to take that into account. So let's read the text. Why doctors hate their computers. Okay. Digitization promises to make medical care easier and more efficient, but are streams coming between doctors and patients. Okay, so what we've got here is some kind of subtitle. I'm just noting it because I think this is a great thing to explore later on when we're doing this analysis of form, structure, and language. You'll see that when I read this piece the first time with you, I'm going to be making notes of all the things that I can analyze later on in terms of form, structure, and language, because it will give me ideas on how I can formulate my own response. Okay, I always say that it is more challenging to create something on a blank canvas than it is to take something that's already been created and edit it and adjust it. So I want us to take inspiration from this to use in our question, and that is what's going to get us our marks. So on a sunny afternoon in May 2015, I joined a dozen other surgeons at a downtown Boston office building to begin 16 hours of mandatory computer training. We sat in 3 rows, each of us parked behind a desktop computer. In 1 month, our daily routines would come to depend upon mastery of Epic, the new medical software system on the screens in front of us. The upgrade from our home-built software would cost the hospital system where we worked, Partners Healthcare, a staggering $1.6 billion. But it aimed to keep us technologically up to date. The surgeons at the training session ranged in age from 30 to 70. I estimated about 60% male and 1% irritated at having to be there instead of seeing patients. Our trainer looked younger than any of us, maybe a few years out of college, with an early Justin Bieber wave cut. Oh, I love that. A blue button-down shirt and chinos, gazing out at his sullen audience. He seemed unperturbed. I learned during the next few sessions that each instructor had developed his or her own way of dealing with the hostile rabble. I just want to change this to a highlighter because note-taking is not going to work for me at this point. Okay, I'll go back to that later. One was encouraging and parental, another unsmiling and efficient. I want to highlight that. That's something I want to... Justin Bieber took the driving instructor's approach. You don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Let's make the best of it. Okay, let's just make the best of it. And I just want to note here that we called him Justin Bieber. I did fine with the initial exercises. I like looking up patients' names and emergency contacts. Like looking up patients' names and emergency contacts. I was like, why does he like doing that? When it came to viewing test results, though, things got complicated. There was a column of 13 tabs on the left side of my screen, crowded with nearly identical terms. Chart review, results review, review flowsheet. We hadn't even started learning how to enter information, and the fields revealed by each tab came with their own tools and nuances. But I wasn't worried. I'd spent my life absorbing changes in computer technology, and I knew that if I pushed through the learning curve, I'd eventually be doing some pretty cool things. In 1978, when I was an 8th grader in Ohio, I built my own 4-kilobyte computer from a mail order kit. Learned to program in BASIC and was soon playing the arcade game Pong in our black and white television set. The next year, I got an Apple II computer and eventually became, I just want to say, Anyway, so we've got his age there. I got an Apple II computer and eventually became the first kid in my school to turn in a computer printed essay. And shortly thereafter, the first to ask for an extension because the computer ate my homework. Okay. So we have, I just also want to note here, we've got like some kind of story about his life. As my epic training began, I expected my patience to be rewarded in the same way. My hospital had, over the years, computerized many records and processes, but the new system would give us one platform for doing almost everything health professionals needed: recording and communicating our medical observations. So this is what it does. Sending prescriptions to a patient's pharmacy. Actually, I want to make that a different color because this is something I want to use in my podcast. Sending prescriptions to a patient's pharmacy. Ordering tests and scans. Viewing results. Scheduling surgery. I think we can just... Okay. Scheduling surgery, sending insurance bills. With Epic, paper lab order slips, vital sign charts, and hospital ward records would disappear. We'd be greener, faster, better. But 3 years later, I've come to feel that a system that promised to increase my mastery over my work has instead increased my work's mastery over me. I'm not the only one. A 2016 study found that physicians spent about 2 hours doing computer work for every hour spent face-to-face with the patient. Whatever the brand of medical software. In the examination room, physicians devoted half of their patient time facing the screen to do electronic tasks. And these tasks were spilling over after hours. The University of Wisconsin found that the average workday for its family physicians had grown to 11 and a half hours. The result has been epidemic levels of burnout among clinicians. Something's gone terribly wrong. Doctors are among the most technologically avid people in society. Computerization has simplified tasks in many industries. Yet somehow we've reached a point where people in the medical profession actively, viscerally, volubly hate their computers. Okay. I was not able to keep the color thing I was trying to do consistent. Okay. Thoughts. Can you guys, all of those watching, can you give some thoughts? What are your thoughts on this text? Who do you think the audience is? What do you think the purpose of the text is? I would love to interact with your comments. Check if... Luca and team, please give me something.
Will do soon.
Checking. Okay. So while I wait for you all to give me your takes on the audience and purpose. Okay, so I see the audience is doctors. The subject is on new technology in the medical field. Well, I would say yes, maybe the audience is doctors. However, it's not necessarily just doctors, because if it were to be just about doctors, we might have a lot more jargon being used. It might be, or more for doctors, just for doctors, it might be more like that. Well, I like the idea of medical students. But also, don't you think that the patients like to would find something like this interesting? Like the casual style that is written, the one was encouraging and parental, another unsmiling and efficient. And then talking about Justin Bieber, herbal alchemists. I love it. That's great. Chosen Undead. Okay, so the thing is, we've got a wide. I think our audience is a little bit wider than just doctors. I wouldn't say we can say something like our audience is anyone. Okay, I've got a little thing over my face. That is not a vibe, honestly. So I don't think that we can say that the audience is just doctors, but I do think we can say that the audience does definitely contain doctors. Let's see what someone else said. The text is about how technology is affecting physicians negatively. Good. And it is quite biased, as there is no other point of view besides himself. And we can see this as he uses his own mannerisms. Okay, so I don't know if mannerisms is the right way of describing it. I think he writes very much in a unique style, in a style that is almost chatty, or it's a very conversational style. Now, something I want to note here is that he is... Okay, so you mentioned quite biased, as there is no other point of view beside himself. Now, I want to ask you all, does bias really make... Is bias something we always need to note? So, is he trying to make an argument? What is his goal here? So yeah, sure, if he was trying to make an argument, then we would do a deep dive into how the argument is affected by his own bias. Okay. Oh, so you're talking about when he's talking about the encouraging parental and the unsmiling and efficient. So we can see that this is quite a personal account. It's a reflective account. He's reflecting on the event. He's thinking about the event. He's exploring the event. And he's giving us a breakdown of the event. Now, what do you think the purpose is of using this kind of register and this kind of style, this very conversational style, this almost chilled style when talking about the event? I felt it could be aimed towards programmers as well. Oh my gosh, I love that, Haley. I do think it can be aimed towards programmers as well. That's why I said the audience is broader. I feel like it impacts doctors, patients, anyone. It could impact anyone who is developing things for doctors. text would be her fellow workers in the medical field. Okay. Or anyone who works with developing technology as a way for them to improve how they have developed their work. Yes, I think fellow workers in the medical field. And something that I like here is that there is this clear understanding of this doctor being a very normal person, talking about the Justin Bieber, talking like adding the humor. Often people, it's the same way people see teachers. Like when I was at school, seeing my teacher in the shop, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you exist outside of school. And like people are real people out of school, and doctors are real people out of like seeing you as a patient. So I like that. And there is a specific reason that the doctor did that. And also, we've got this why doctors hate their computers. It is written by a doctor, and therefore it has that extra authority. Well, I'm hoping I am a real person. I'm not totally sure. I don't know if AI is advanced enough to have tricked me. Well, if AI is advanced enough for me to actually be AI. Okay. So would medical professionals not be able to relate more to the perspective of the author? Yes, I think medical professionals would be able to, and it's not, so I do think that medical professionals would be able to relate to the perspective of the author. Yes, I do agree with that. However, I also think that we cannot say, like, there's nothing in here, really, unless, do you see any point here that cannot be, that make it not relatable to the public? Or not understandable to the public? Okay, let's drop that train of the AI thing. I love the ideas though. Okay, so I want you to quickly just note down who you think your audience is. We're going to explore this a lot more later. Who you think your audience is, who you think on your own piece of paper or something, who you think what you think the purpose is. And let's quickly talk about, just before we move on, what conventions have been used. So this is a magazine article. So what conventions of a magazine article do we see here? I'm going to highlight these in yellow. I'm just waiting for some comments. I will start it off. We've got a title. It's quite a catchy title. Many pieces have titles. You've got newspaper articles that have titles. You would even have your podcast would have a title. If you're writing a TikTok, it has a title. If you're writing a YouTube video, it has a title. Everything will have a title. So we're looking at what are the conventions of a magazine article that we see here. Okay, so I'm going to say we've got this title, and then we've got, I would say, even the subtitle. Definitely the subtitle, actually. Okay, then we've got on a Sunday afternoon in May 2015, I joined a dozen other surgeons at a downtown Boston office building to begin 16 hours of mandatory computer training. Okay, so we've got this work mandatory. Okay, now this is our first instance of we've got why doctors hate their computer, and then we've got this word mandatory. Okay, now this could be just a very basic thing, but I think from the context we can see that they weren't all too chuffed, and it later says that people are upset that they're missing time with their patients. Okay, so we've got. Did my stream freeze or something? No, it didn't. So we've got this mandatory computer training, and we have this introductory sentence. Oh my gosh, I am messing this up. Okay, whoops. So we've got this introductory training. This is supposed to be yellow, but it is not yellow. So we've got this introductory sentence. And this is another example. Oh my gosh. Of a convention. So I want you to just take note of your conventions. Okay. Now we're going to dive into the question. Okay. Just open my... So what are the things that we need to include? Can anyone think of things that we would need to include in this question? So you are a doctor who has used Epic. Okay? So you are again a doctor. So it tells you who you are. So that gives you quite a lot of information. And you have used Epic. Let's see what these comments are. I'm just seeing this now. Audience, healthcare professionals that use a computer in general. I think that would be your audience of your purpose. I felt as if it was an indirect persuasion to persuade healthcare professionals to move from their software to Epic. Okay, so Tate Select, you say it was an indirect persuasion. So the writer spends a lot of time diving into Epic and what it can do and everything. But then here we've got this. But 3 years later, I've come to feel that a system that promised to increase my mastery over my work has instead increased my work's mastery over me. So basically, this is saying that I'm just spending a lot of time on the computer. I'm just spending a lot of time working on the software, and then it backs up this statement and his feelings with, I'm not the only one. And then he quoted a study, or well, he referred to a study. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to look at that now. I get that he was talking a lot about it, but he was basically, I feel like, you might disagree, but I feel like he was spending a lot of time talking about the software and the promises it made. And then he expresses here near the end his disappointment at... I love it. So he was talking here near the end about his real feelings now that he's used it. And I really feel like this shows disappointment. And so maybe you could make an argument for the fact that Epic might be the best solution, or the solution that has less different apps and things that you use. However, I don't know, this sentence here seems to disagree with that. Okay. I feel like he developed a League of Legends addiction because he was in front of the screen for so long. Wonderful. Okay. Love that. Okay. So let's quickly look at our question. You are a doctor who has used Epic. Write the text of a podcast for other doctors promoting the benefits of the new software. Use 150 to 200 words. Okay. So if we look at that, I see that Chosen Undead said you would need to use some lingo. Yes, let us use the lingo. I'm actually going to create a Google Doc here quickly. Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to say here we're going to. So we need to use some lingo. Now, can someone rephrase this for me so that we can like have an appropriate way to talk about it in our analysis later on? So just give me the correct terminology. This is actually a very big part. We need to use the correct the correct language in our explanatory comments. So what do we mean by use the lingo? You would have to use jargon that indicates that you are a medical professional. So you're going to use jargon that indicates that you're a medical professional. Okay. Now, in this article that we read, was there any jargon that was used? Can you tell me the examples at random nerd? Okay, so I'm so confused. Let him cook. Let who cook? Okay, anyway, so if we look at our jargon, we do have this moment here. Well, clinicians is not specifically jargon. I think I'm not actually sure whether clinicians is jargon. It is like the public wouldn't call people clinicians. Normal people, like patients, don't usually call people clinicians. So, and then physicians. If you talk about your doctor, do you talk about them as a physician? I mean, I might, but like I'm extra like that. Okay, cool. So, but the thing is, experience with computer languages like BASIC is not so much to do with his background as a doctor. So we're looking for specific things that he has said that point to the fact that he's a doctor. So we know he's a doctor, but what are the words he's used? Use long medical terms at the start to get rid of normies. That feels like a TikTok strategy. I like that. So we've got paper lab order slips. I do not know. Actually, I do know what that is. We've got paper lab order slips, vital sign charts. Sorry, vital sign charts. Not anyway. Okay. So we can use all of these. So when we're looking at these, we have these are things that help. Okay. However, it doesn't have to be too intense. Okay. You do need to be aware that your podcast is for other doctors. So I think you would maybe use a little bit more jargon than this article does. And something I also want to note is that he used the word epidemic. Now, epidemic and pandemic has become like household terms for us. But I mean, when I was a kid, it was not a thing. Like, the word epidemic was not something I just heard very often. Isn't pandemic like, yeah, epidemic is like more local, and pandemic is like it affects everyone. And then can we make up jargon? I don't think you can make up jargon. Like, what jargon are you going to make up? Okay. Give me examples of what jargon you want to make up. Yes. Okay, so we're looking at accuracy. So we want accuracy about the Epic software. Okay. Now, since we are a doctor, okay, and we've used Epic, we are wanting to promote the benefits of the new software. So they've given us a couple of benefits of the new software. So we need to mention the benefits of the software, right? But after mentioning the benefits of the software, like, what are we actually going to say here? Let me just check. So we're going to talk about these benefits. We don't have very many words. I do want to point out to you, I do want to just make you aware we've got 150 to 200 words. So yeah. Now, what type of misinformation do you think could be spread through this podcast? What are your thoughts? Because that could be a great thought, or it could be a little bit odd. Okay, so while you type that, I'm going to just say here, we're going to need some kind of catchy title. Do we all agree that we need some kind of catchy title? Sorry, my neck is really sore. Then I would say we also need some kind of central idea. And we need to focus on that central idea. So does anyone have any ideas on what central idea we would be focusing on? That's an interesting, the movable force. That's an interesting idea. Can you elaborate on that idea? Okay, so let's quickly look at the title, My Software is better than your hardware. Okay. Do we think let's look at that title again as well. Possible titles. So let me just write here titles. Oh my gosh, look at how I spelled it. Sometimes typing. Oh, is that just an idea? Okay. Epic does everything health. Yes, okay, so that's your central idea. So our central idea is going to be specifically built on Epic. So we're going to write all about Epic. We are not going to write about like every other possible topic. We don't have that much space. We don't have time. I just need to change this color. I can't find the place to do it. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. So it needs to be all about Epic. So we need to know that it's going to be a positive thing. They're going to talk positively about it. So that means that these issues relating to using up time does not affect the podcaster, or they are lying about it because it is a paid podcast. That is also a direction you can take it in. Now, the point what I'm trying to do here is not come up with a conclusive list, but I'm trying to point out to you that, like anything, there is so much that you can do here, and there are so many directions that you can take it in. So let's see. I love this. Epic software is an epic moment. Now, okay, sorry for the all caps. I am occasionally a boomer. No, I'm really not. Okay. Another one, epic software is an epic moment. For all physicians. Okay, we're going to say for all physicians. Well, spread of information can even be an exaggeration of Epic's abilities or not properly stating its limitation. Yeah, so what would the podcasters you can take it in that direction, but like what would the podcasters motivation be for like misinformation? Oh my gosh, I love that, Tate. Why Epic is the new meta. I can't copy and paste because like it's a lot of formatting issues for healthcare professionals. And then what else do we have? Why Epic is the new prodigy in the healthcare industry. Okay, so let's move away from title for a bit. I like 4 actually. That is a good idea. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it as in. I'm not totally sure. So doctors being misinformed leads to a lot of issues. You've said that. They may not actually know they are spreading misinformation and actually think they know what they're talking about. I love that. Okay, so there's this like meme where it's like music producers on the one side and it's got podcasters on the other side. And it shows podcasters getting like millions of listens and music producers getting like no listens. And podcasters are literally just being like, yeah, bro, I had a long day, bro. And then someone's like, oh, yeah, man, that's tough. And so, like, some podcasts I've listened to have been just so bad. But, like, I mean, I kept listening because it's dumpster fire, and why wouldn't you listen to a dumpster fire? But, like, the point is that podcasters don't always know what they're talking about. And especially doctors. Because the audience is doctors. Doctors are going to be, they're looking for a new software probably if they're listening to this podcast or it's a podcast that they trust. So they are going to trust this doctor probably. So yes, I do agree with you, Chosen Undead. It is going to influence them. They are going to trust this doctor. The more you trust someone, the more they can influence you. Okay, so what we're going to... Okay, so what other things we need to add? We've got a catchy title. Focus on a central idea. Okay, I said that. Concept of a host as central. Now, a podcast might have one person talking, or it might have multiple people talking. The most, yeah. So, okay. So that's actually something we might want to talk about. I'm just going to add here contents. So for contents, we're going to look at how to actually use. And we're also going to look at the pros and cons. I think that it's a great idea. And then obviously that would be more balanced. And doctors love that stuff. They love balanced stuff. So another thing we need to look at is we need to have some kind of awareness of the elements of the original text and what we need in ours, okay? And something I would also say is we need to make sure that we are in some way leaning on the original text for inspiration. Okay. In the podcast, for better context, should the introduction have what episode it is? Wonderful. That is. So I was going to mention that later. The top responses for a question like this would have an awareness of the fact that this is part of a greater series, and this is not the only podcast. It is not like episode 1 and 1 of the podcast. So that is definitely something to note. I'm just checking these notifications on this page. Okay, cool. Don't need to catch up on anything there. I was just trying to see the Facebook stream. Talking about the medical field for a while. Okay, so I need you guys to also understand that we need some kind of understanding that medical professionals are a bigger group than doctors. There's a better way to say that, but I'm just going to. So doctors and the software serves an even larger group. Now, something you might want to state here is in order to show that you understand this, because that's an understanding of your audience, which is a great thing to have. So software serves an even larger group. So something you could talk about is how it makes interaction between patients, other healthcare professionals seamless and allows the sharing of vital information. What do you guys think of that? Okay. Don't know. Okay, so would withholding information or referring the metaphorical other podcast also be a good technique? I think I'm referring to another metaphorical podcast. Well, it's imaginary podcast would be a great idea. And especially like using that in your conclusion, maybe saying, I'll catch you next time where we will be talking about this topic. Now, another thing you need to be aware of is that the text is going to be listened to. Now, how is this going to affect your writing? Because the main host, the host is going to be the central person. It's going to be like block paragraphs of hosts talking. And I mean, you could do this in whatever way you want. it doesn't just have to be that one host. That host could be talking to like someone who is visiting from, well, someone who is joining him from the Epic company. So it could be something like that. Or it could be someone who is using another software, and so he is talking about the software instead. So you could get creative there. Now, most people who do this question will probably just have the one host, and I think that might be the easiest way to do it. That's probably how I would do it. And then you're going to have some kind of brief introduction. So what do you think you would include in your introduction? Oh, I love that. I love that. Hit that notification bell and sub with Prime? I'm not, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, you're probably going to need to have a name. You're going to need to have a name for your podcast. And this name is going to be in your introduction. So in this introductory paragraph, you're going to be like, welcome back to Doctors Who Hates Avos. I don't know. Okay, I love that. That's brilliant, Tate Select. Make yourself the authority. So okay. Name Marco Mashlengo Alfonso Bartholomew Fred III. Love that. The contract should allow for more potential. And then you want to make yourself the authority figure. Yes. Great. Okay. Now, another thing that we might need, we need to know our purpose. Okay, everything is going to be led by our purpose. Okay? What is the purpose of your podcast? It is stated in the question. To promote the benefits. Very good. So we want to promote the benefits. But to what end though? Are we just wanting to promote the benefits? And like, yeah, we could. I would say we want to promote the benefits and we want people to actually use it. Okay. So we want people to use it. So something that we could note is that if we want people to use it, we might offer some kind of discount if they click on your link. Or if they use your discount code. Okay? So that feels very podcasty, don't you think? Offering a discount if they use your discount code. Okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so this viewer interaction might be an interesting look. What do you mean by that? I'm a little bit confused. Interesting tool. Okay. Okay, the thing is, podcasts don't usually they're not usually live. So can you elaborate on that? I don't think I'm totally understanding what you mean. While you do that, we're probably going to have some kind of first person account of using it. Account of using it and how it was beneficial for them personally. Okay, then we're probably going to have some kind of second person pronoun use as he speaks directly or to the audience. Okay, let's see what you said. Oh yes, special guest. I say for the podcast we bring on a few healthcare professionals. You may be wondering how we will get them on the podcast. We offer them a discount to get some other perspectives to make the podcast not too biased. That's great. That is a really brilliant idea. However, we want to make sure that if he's promoting the benefits, we don't have too many naysayers, because he ultimately wants people to use it. And so if you have too many naysayers on your podcast, less people are going to actually use it. So yes, if you're going to use that, make sure that you use it wisely. And then and we need to make sure that when the audience that he's directly talking to, the people he's talking to are doctors. And so, what do we know about doctors? They are educated. In most cases, they are well off. What else do we know? Yeah, so I also think it would be difficult to implement like too many people because it's 200 words. Can someone please explain this let him cook thing? Okay, so second person pronoun as he speaks directly to the audience. So these are all the things that the top responses would have. And these are all the things that I definitely think you should have. Just want to move this to this side. I'm just looking for another document quickly. Okay. So So other things we might need to, things we need to watch out for. Or things that we might want to do is we might want to talk about the software in a positive way and purposefully leave out the drawbacks. Depending on how you want to create your podcast, you might want to add some humor. So you might want to look at details on how to use Epic. You might want to look at what Epic can do. And I think that interweaving these ideas with a very personal text and your personal take can really be beneficial. And speak directly to the audience. Instead of working for the software, you can make the software work for you. I like that. Okay. This will be available to listen to later on, don't worry. Okay, now, what would weaker responses do? Okay, these are things that you definitely should not do. Okay. So, the weaker responses, if like students who get bad marks for a question like this, are going to usually have some kind of misunderstanding of the text. If you do not have an understanding of the fact that doctors are a subset of healthcare professionals, then you're going to really miss out on the task. And okay, so there's this like whole Justin Bieber thing, and some people might misunderstand this. I have had students misunderstand this, and they thought that the trainer was a Justin Bieber fan because of how he wore his hair. But like that is just a misunderstanding of the text. Bad text conventions, no mention of audience and grammatical issues. Okay, yeah, that would be an issue. Obviously, for question B, this is going to be like easier to look at, but weaker responses would be very vague in the content they're writing about, since their knowledge of the content is not in the standard that it should be to write in an efficient response. That's great. Being vague is definitely a problem. And if you will often notice, if I mark any of your work, you will notice that I just keep commenting, too vague, too vague, too vague. Okay, so okay, so there are maybe more tactful ways of saying that Tate select, but I mean, you can explore that. So other no, that's no. remember your question 1B is not to analyze your mistakes. Your question 1B is to look at how language form and structure are used to fulfill that purpose. To fulfill the purpose of the task, which is the initial instruction. And then you need to take that purpose of the task and you need to compare that to the purpose of the original text and see, okay, now they've got differing purposes, but you all say that they have similar audiences. So why are they written in the same way? Why are they written in different ways? How have language, form, and structure been used to achieve this? Okay, I'm just looking here at my notes. They were. Okay. So you need to just have an awareness of all of the aspects, all of the content that was mentioned in the original text when you're writing your own text. Now, some weaker responses might also do like typical advertising things where you're like, if you do not get this, you will not be able to serve your patients well, and stuff like that. And that is more of a weaker response. So you need to find the balance and you need to make sure that you have the balance. Okay. So what we're going to do now, okay, I think what we'll do, we've worked out different ways that we could do this. Everyone's given ideas on what we could do. What I think would be great is if we stop the stream and then everyone works on this. You work on your question 1A. You write your you write your answer, and then what we'll do is I will in our next stream, when we're busy analyzing, we're going to use my text as the text to compare for 1B. So I will read you my text that I've written on this. Is that cool? Does anyone have any questions before you actually do the task? Okay. The stuff that I've got here. Yeah, sure. I'm going to paste it in the chat and then let me also just paste it in the chat here. Okay, so you can go look at that and we can explore it like that. Oh wait, I need to just change it so that it's viewer mode, yes. Okay. Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, Sim.